Legend of the Stone Demon is out now, and I absolutely love this content. And as with all Borderlands content updates, this one brings some new weapons and gear. We have 4 new vault card items, one of which is surprisingly overpowered. There's also 10 new legendary drops in the bounty pack from bosses, and then 3 more new Pearlescent items. So, which ones are worth chasing and which ones need a buff? Up first, let's take a look at the vault card items, starting off with the McCready. This dataless assault rifle cycles between different firing modes on reload. It always comes with an Atlas tracker roll because the other aspect of this gun's special ability is that when it is target locked, you gain stacking buffs that grant 50% damage per stack. But this gun has a problem. It doesn't benefit from gun damage boost like skills or class mods or enhancements, and unless that is fixed, this gun is kind of you know? But with those things fixed, this gun could be very strong and very interesting. It would require you to constantly reapply the Atlas tracker to enemies to really buff up the damage, so likely even with the fix, it might remain outshined by the Wombo Combo and Lucian's Flank in the assault rifle category. Next, we have the Arctan. This torque shotgun fires grenade rounds in a 2-round burst that explode on impact with a huge radius. Think, if I'm within 10 feet, I'm dead kind of range here. You can mitigate this by using the sticky rounds, so you apply them and run for your life while they detonate. One weird thing about the impact rounds is they bounce off of surfaces and detonate only when either hitting an enemy, a wall, or after traveling a short distance off of the bounce. Another thing to note, impact rounds will not crit, but sticky rounds will. So this is one that I recommend keeping on sticky mode pretty much non-stop to maximize your damage. Also, find yourself a torque enhancement with Explosiception roll to allow this gun to do damage on the initial hit too. Our third vault card item is the Tank Buster sniper rifle manufactured by Ripper. This sniper's base damage is good, but the gimmick boosts it considerably. Basically, this is a mobbing sniper, or it could be a boss sniper if the boss has a bunch of minions around. What the gun's special ability does is that when you shoot an enemy, it will heal a nearby enemy for the card's listed amount and add that card listed amount to your shot as extra damage. I know that was a lot. Basically, if you shoot one enemy, a nearby enemy gets healed, and that healing amount that that enemy gets is added to the damage that you did to the person that you shot. Got it? Now, there's some situations where you might want to avoid such a gimmick. I'm thinking like the Ripper Roadbirds boss fight, for example, because you could be healing the other Ripper Roadbirds while damaging the one you're shooting. But if you're like me and you focus down one target at a time, even that might not be an issue because you can't give enemies extra health over 100%. So healing a full health enemy doesn't really hurt you. However, this gun has two very real issues. First, the fire rate is slow, like really slow, and second, it consumes 2 ammo per shot. If they just increase the fire rate just a smidge and then remove the 2 ammo cost, this gun would be a contender. The final vault card item is one that a lot of people have been clowning on, the countermeasure grenade mod, but I'm here to tell you, this is a fastball with benefits. Now, bear in mind, this is the roll that I got on mine, and it's nutty. You want to make sure, however, that you're nowhere near enemies when you throw this because it will nuke you. Just treat this like it's a Pimpernel from Borderlands 2. You aim it low, I usually go for the feet, and well, just look at the results. I've seen people clowning on this grenade so hard, but with the right setup, holy cow, this thing is lethal, even to you. Next up, let's cover the new bosses in the Stone Demon Bounty Pack and what they drop. I've held off on posting this video for over a week, and I'm glad I did. I was expecting some balance adjustments to gear, but instead we got a flat dedicated boss drop rate balancing. So I want to start this section off by letting you know that every legendary in this video from here on out is a 9% drop rate on normal mode, and it gains 2% extra drop chance for each ultimate level you add. In other words, 9% in normal mode, 21% at maximum ultimate Vault Hunter level, which is 6 as of me recording this. Okay, starting with Chisabella. This is one of the 3 hidden bosses in the Stone Demon Bounty Pack, and it's the first one you encounter. But if you don't want to see where these bosses are located and you want to find them for yourself, then click off the video now, because I'm about to show you all 3 of those hidden boss locations, and I'm not trying to ruin the fun for you. Okay, we good? All right, Chisabella is located here in Demon's Domain, and they drop 2 items. First is the Mercurius SMG, manufactured by Vladov. This gun gains bullet damage that scales with movement speed. Now, on paper, that sounds like fun, like recapturing Zane from Borderlands 3 and turning him into an SMG. But in truth, this game has so much stuff in your way on maps that it's hard to really get a great benefit from the gimmick of this gun. Most fights have cover and rocks and broken walls walls and all sorts of other things for you to constantly bump into, which slows you down. But if you can get some good speed going, then yeah, this gun shreds. I basically built my Rafa to pure gun damage and speed for this. I even took the special skill bullet train so that I could, you know, get a little bit more damage while I'm running, and I used the super soldier so we get even more speed, and I equipped a class mod that rolled double 20% movement speed. I wanted to be the Flash basically, and well, sure, I killed stuff, but all that setup and the gun kills are about the same speed as a bunch of other guns with far less work involved. So I don't know, you be the judge, you know, whether you want to do this or not. This gun doesn't require that much speed to be effective, by the way. I massively went overkill with the speed. You basically get nearly double your damage by shooting the gun while running, and the effects work by jumping as well. But please note, if you are standing still when you're shooting this gun, you actually get reduced damage. The other drop from this boss is the Bubbles assault rifle, manufactured by Vladov. The gimmick of this gun is that it shoots bubbles. Some are big, some are small, some are wildly inaccurate, but the gun does have good damage and will always spawn with a ×2 roll for the base damage. So if you can stay on target with it, you will do some decent work. Best used from basically shotgun range, maybe a little bit longer. Look for a Ripper and a Jacob's roll in this one, but note that the footage that I'm showing you here does not have those rolls. I haven't gotten that lucky on this one yet. I'm thinking that if I get those rolls, then this thing might be pretty damn strong. The next boss from the Stone Demon DLC with drops is Vortex, and you can find him here on the map. He also has 2 drops. First of those 2 is the Doe Shot Shotgun. This Jacob Shotty fires in a 5-shot burst with each trigger pull, but if you get a Ripper roll, you can essentially turn this into a full auto beast. This shotgun can also roll with the much sought after spread launcher roll, allowing you to swap to your alt fire, pop an amp boosting rep kit, and delete health bars with a single shot. This is one of the best overall weapons added to this DLC in my opinion, and honestly having a full auto Jacob shotgun is just a really good time. Which leads me to Vortex's other drop, the Roulette pistol, manufactured by Order, which is usually an instant turnoff for me. This gun, however, is an absolute unit of a weapon. As the item card says, on reload you gain random buffs, but what it doesn't tell you is that you can get all 7 of those buffs at the same time. Kind of like the Lucky 7 in Borderlands 3 in that regard, except far easier to set up. Basically just reload your gun until you see the number 7 appear with the gun icon. Now on Rafa you can use Bullet Buddy Deluxe and have infinite ammo for a while. On Harlow you can keep it going with critical funding and hitting crits obviously. With Vex you can use Witchy Trigger Finger to constantly pull ammo from your reserves to keep shooting with that bonus. And even Amon can really get some benefit from this by using Primal Surge in the blue tree to really keep his ammo going as well. And let me tell you, if you roll all 7 bonuses on this thing, it is wild. You will melt bosses, but you want to look for Jacobs and Ripper as a combined roll. If nothing else, you definitely need Ripper on this thing. That's all I've got on mine, and you can see from the footage it's badass. But best believe I'm hunting for that extra Jacobs roll too. The next boss is actually a combo boss who can be found hidden in this section of the map. In order to get to them, you need to jump up here, grab the power cord, then insert it into this spot behind the truck. Then you have to find this hidden entrance through this vent. Now after all of that, you're gonna get to fight Sturm Drang, which is actually Sturm and Drang, a 2-boss fight with tons of minions running around, and it is chaos in there. Gearbox heard all the complaints about things being too easy, and they definitely upped the challenge a bit. Now these guys dropped 2 items as well. First up is the Hair Trigger. This Ripper shotgun has an interesting gimmick. Normally when you hold a gun in this game, you let go of the trigger with each shot, but with this gun you want to hold the trigger until the orb that shoots out of it gets near a target. The damage is just okay in my opinion, but with a heavy splash focus build you can probably make this work pretty well. But there's just so many other better options that don't require so much work once again. Plus if you forget to hold the trigger, odds are you're probably going to nuke yourself with this one. The other drop from Sturm Drang is the Laser Discer. This is a returning weapon from Borderlands the pre-sequel, where it was one of the better overall guns in that game. The special effect of this gun is 200% damage versus flying enemies. In Borderlands 4 it can be one of the strongest weapons with the right rolls, but man, these rolls are brutal to farm. This gun single-handedly caused the delay in this video's release by an extra day. After getting well over 50 Laser Discers, I finally got the roll that makes this gun great: Replicator Homing. Without that, good luck hitting those flying enemies unless they're completely stationary. I will say this about the gun, a lot of people seem to like it on Borderlands 4, but unless I'm using it on my Grip and Rip Rafa build, which is all about TDR chucking and ordnance damage, I don't think this is one that I would put in my rotation. On my Rafa it's very good, but the reload speed is slow low for chucking, especially compared to my Ruby's Grasp or my Chuck. I will be using it mainly for flying enemies, but again, if you can't find replicator homing for your role, then this is one that's just too complicated for flying targets in my opinion. All right, with all the hidden bosses out of the way, that brings us now to the Stone Demon themselves, and then we will take a look at the pearls and one final legendary that stands above all the others. The Stone Demon is located here on the map, and they have 3 legendary items and 1 pearlescent item in their loot pool. Starting us off is the Hopscotch Shield. Now, not much to say about this one. When you lose an armor segment, it creates a singularity that pulls in and ragdolls nearby enemies. It doesn't work on larger named enemies like bosses and mini bosses, however. It does have a high capacity and it recharges very fast. This shield is honestly great for survivability and for any situation where you want your enemies close by. Think like a shotgun build or maybe some sort of melee build where you want to bring them in. That said, there's better options for both of those situations, so I don't know. This is definitely a survivability shield though. Up next is the Broken Wings. This Malawan SMG that feels like a Temu Sandhawk fires out a wave of projectiles in a horizontal row. The main problem with this gun is how inaccurate it is unless you treat it like a shotgun and almost basically barrel stuff enemies with it. You can mitigate this by getting an Atlas tracker roll, but that only helps versus a singular target. You can also maximize the damage by getting a Torgue impact and a Jacob's crit roll, but even still, you need to hit as many projectiles as possible to make this thing feel good. This might be one of those weapons that's just for big bosses until you can find ways to make the spread less of an issue. That said, I've heard a lot of people singing its praise. I just didn't get a whole lot of use out of it myself. The last legendary item from the Stone Demon is the Flea Bag, and this is an interesting one. Sticky projectiles will move to the most recently hit target. So you shoot a boss, but then you turn to shoot a normal mob enemy. The stickies will then move from the normal mob enemy to the boss. I know that's complicated, but it does work that way. This also works if you roll a Jacob's accessory on this, and trust me, you should. This gun is a fun mobbing weapon as you're just going to be causing havoc to every enemy on the battlefield with sticky projectiles detonating everywhere. But even if you ignore the mechanics of this gun and you just treat it like a normal assault rifle, it is a beast. I highly recommend getting a Jacobs and Ripper for the combo roll, and trust me, you won't look back on this one. The final item in the Stone Demon's loot pool is one that, as of me recording this, is still a 100% guaranteed drop from the Ordinite Processor mission at the start of the Stone Demon bounty pack, as long as you complete it within the time limit and don't die. And that mission is repeatable via the mission replay menu as well, so you can get as many of those as you want. Again, that might change, and honestly, I'm kind of on the fence about that. I do appreciate that they're like introducing people to the pearls, but it feels like there's probably a better way to do that. I don't know. Tell me how you guys feel about it down in the comments below, and look for a pinned message just in case they ever do nerf that mission drop rate. Anyhow, the Stone Demon has a very rare chance to drop the head cannon pistol, and this one is actually a decent pistol, but it probably needs a buff to be called a pearlescent, or it just needs less part variations in order to be a pearlescent. When you apply sticky rounds with this gun, they do damage over time for 5 seconds. Each of those ticks during that window does just 10% of the card damage as base damage, and after 5 seconds the stickies explode. Those stickies count as gun damage, so anything that you have that boosts gun damage will increase the effects, and you can stack a bunch of them on an enemy to apply multiple ticks at once. With a good set of rolls, this gun is absolutely worthy of the Pearl title, but with bad rolls, this thing feels like a random blue Torgue pistol. Now, so far, the only gimmick with pearls besides the gun's actual gimmick itself is that they all roll with basically a bonus element that will automatically apply when you face an enemy that is weak to that particular element. For example, if I'm using the hand cannon versus an armored enemy, but it rolled the incendiary bonus, it won't use the incendiary effect on that armored enemy, but if I turn and there's a flesh-based enemy standing there, it will hit them with the fire damage. I don't know. It's an interesting idea, but honestly, I think there's probably better ways to make pearls feel special. Let me know what you guys would do with pearls, though. I love reading y'all's comments about this stuff. Up next, let's take a look at the 2 pearlescents that are available to all players in the base game. These each have a 0.6% drop chance, just like the head cannon does from Stone Demon, and they can drop from the Ordinite Processor events, which you can find in these locations, with a big thanks to Mental Mars for this infographic. Now, that drop chance is also increased by turning up your ultimate difficulty, with the max drop rate being 0.9% on Ultimate 6. You will get these from killing the Ordinite named enemies during these processor events, so make sure that, you know, after each round you kill that Ordinite enemy, because that's where you're going to have your best chance of getting these. Now, we have told Gearbox that we think these things need to be world drops at a very low rate. We also feel like they need to be in like the boss pools for Bloom Reaper, maybe the vault bosses when you're playing on true difficulty or something like that. We need other ways to get these that aren't just these Ordinite events, is what I'm trying to tell you. Anyhow, up first is the Eigen Eigen Burst. This TDR shotgun fires in the face of reason, and instead of being all about throwing it to get damage, you instead get more damage the lower your mag gets. This is obviously suited to less of an ordnance and throwing playstyle and favors gun damage builds instead. One of the best ways to utilize this effect is to roll a Ripper part. This will give you more mag and more damage, but the benefit of the bigger mag is that you will have more shots from the middle of the mag to the bottom of the mag to maximize your damage. You probably also want a Daedalus or Jacobs roll. Jacobs for damage, Daedalus for having another ammo type, since shotguns have less ammo SDU capacity than most of the other weapons. I think as of the time of recording this video that pearls need less overall part variance. I said this before. Maybe lock in one of the strongest parts for each given pearl and let there just be one additional thing that can roll or something like that. I don't know, heck, maybe even fixed god roll parts. But if they do that, then I think they're going to need to lower the drop chance even further, and I know you guys hate hearing that, but they were lower than what they are now on Borderlands 1 and 2. Just want to point that out. On Borderlands 1 and 2, pearls were much lower than 0.9%. Now, as it stands with so much part variance, the damage variance can be really rough, and it's hard for me to tell you with a straight face that the Pearlescents are good right now. They can be with the right rolls, as you see in this footage. I got a good roll in my Eigen Burst eventually, but they can also roll as absolute piles of garbage, and I'm hoping the Gearbox solves that problem sooner rather than later. Speaking of the other pearl though, the final pearl on this list is the Conflux Malawan sniper rifle. The special effect is that it deals 100% damage per status effect on the target. So if you apply fire, shock, corrosive, and radiation at the same time, boom, 400% damage on a sniper rifle. Yeah, it's pretty good. This effect also counts applying slowed effects or bleed as a status effect, so those apply to your 100% damage boost at a time. However, Amon's weakness effect and Harlow's daze effect do not count despite being status effects on enemies. All that said, the sniper is very good once again with the right rolls. Once again, Jacobs reigns near always supreme for that extra damage, but Ripper and Daedalus are both great additions as well. One cool trick that I saw Moxie do was that he used the rainbow vomit on an enemy, instantly applying 4 status effects, then swap to the Conflux to enjoy that extra damage. But no matter how you do it, make sure you apply various status effects to boost this thing up. And finally, the last item from the Stone Demon bounty pack is the Shalashaka, and this gun is arguably one of the best overall weapons from the content. A Jacobs pistol with the special ability that automatic reloads will increase the number of ricochets by 1. This will reset if you manually reload the gun. So basically just keep shooting. Never reload on purpose, hold down the trigger. The more this gun reloads itself, the more ricochets and damage you'll do. And this gun has a secret. Those ricochets don't work how you think they do. Versus large enemies like bosses, they will travel down into the boss on hit, meaning you can absolutely wreck bosses with enough stacks built up. But wait, it gets even better. This gun can roll with Torg Impact and Daedalus shotgun to basically make this into a Fibber Masher hybrid. Genuinely a super fun gun to use, and if you were going to make something into a pearl in this DLC, I'm thinking, man, that should have been it, right? That's every new item in the bounty pack. Let me know which one is your favorite with a comment down below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe for more Borderlands content. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.